There's a moment in everyone's life when everything you thought you knew about yourself gets pulled away. Maybe it's the end of a relationship that defined you. Maybe it's losing a job that gave your days meaning. Maybe it's looking in the mirror and not recognizing the person staring back. In that moment, you feel like you're standing at the edge of something vast and terrifying, something that might swallow you whole. This is a human experience of transformation, messy, terrifying, and absolutely necessary. But here's what's beautiful about our universe. We're not alone in this experience. Even in the deepest reaches of space, the same dance of destruction and creation plays out on scales so magnificent they take your breath away. Tonight, I want to take you on a journey to the most mysterious phenomena in our cosmos, black holes. These aren't just distant objects in space. They're mirrors reflecting our own deepest experiences of change, loss, and rebirth. For centuries, we feared black holes as cosmic monsters, devourers of light, destroyers of worlds. But modern science has revealed something far more profound. Black holes aren't just destroyers. They're creators. They're the universe's way of taking what seems lost forever and transforming it into something entirely new, just like you. So here's what we're going to explore together. First, we'll discover the event horizon, that invisible boundary in space that mirrors those point-of-no-return moments in your life, and why crossing these thresholds isn't destruction but revelation. Second, we'll explore time dilation, how black holes bend time itself, just like how your most transformative periods make time feel strange and stretched, and why this isn't a problem to fix but a gift to embrace. Third, we'll witness the accretion disk, those beautiful spirals of light around black holes that show us how to find elegance in the chaos of change, when everything in your life seems to be swirling around some invisible center. Fourth, we'll solve the information paradox, the cosmic mystery that proves nothing is ever truly lost, including the parts of yourself you think you've left behind in your journey of becoming. And finally, we'll understand Hawking radiation, how even the darkest places in space emit light, just like how your deepest transformations make you a beacon for others, whether you realize it or not. This isn't about comparing your struggles to distant objects in space. This is about recognizing that the same forces that shape galaxies are working within you right now. The same physics that govern the birth of stars govern the birth of your new self. So take a deep breath. You're not broken. You're not falling apart. You're being remade by forces so ancient and wise that they've been perfecting this process for billions of years. Welcome to understanding that your darkest moments aren't endings. They're beginnings in disguise. Number 1, the event horizon, the point of no return. You know that moment when you realize there's no going back? When you cross some invisible line, and the person you used to be feels like a distant memory. That's your personal event horizon, the boundary where your old self ends and something new begins. In space, the event horizon is that invisible boundary where the gravitational pull becomes so strong that not even light can escape. Once something crosses that threshold, it's committed to the journey inward. It can't change its mind. It has to trust the process, even though it can't see where it's going. But here's what's remarkable. Crossing the event horizon isn't the violent experience we once imagined. For someone falling across that boundary, it feels surprisingly gentle. The terror isn't in the crossing itself. It's in the approach, when you can still see both worlds, the familiar one you're leaving and the unknown one you're being pulled toward. Sound familiar? Most of our suffering during transformation happens not in the changing itself, but in the resistance to it. We exhaust ourselves trying to swim against a current that's already decided our direction. But what if you could approach your own event horizon the way light approaches a black hole? Not fighting the pull, but allowing yourself to be drawn into the mystery. The beautiful thing about event horizons is that they're not actually black. When you're far away, they look like voids. But as you get closer, you see they're shimmering with possibility. They're boundaries between worlds, doorways between versions of yourself. Think about the last time you crossed one of these thresholds in your life. Maybe it was terrifying to approach, but once you actually crossed over, once you stepped into that new version of your life, wasn't there a sense of relief? A recognition that this is where you were always headed? That's because event horizons aren't punishments. They're invitations. They're the universe's way of saying, you've outgrown this container. It's time for something bigger. So if you're approaching your own event horizon right now, if you can feel that pull toward change even though you can't see where it's leading, remember, the point of no return isn't a place of ending. It's a place of beginning. Number 2, time dilation, when everything slows down. Have you ever noticed how time becomes strange when you're going through something transformative? How a single moment can feel like it lasts forever, while entire weeks blur together. How the ordinary rhythm of days suddenly doesn't apply to you anymore. Near a black hole, time slows down. This isn't metaphor, it's measurable science. The closer you get to that gravitational field, the more time stretches. What feels like minutes to you would be hours to someone watching from a distance. During intense periods of personal transformation, we experience something remarkably similar. Think about the last time you faced major change. Remember how time felt? How a single conversation could seem to last hours. How you could sit in silence for what felt like minutes, only to discover the sun had moved across the sky. That's your emotional gravity at work. When your inner world is undergoing fundamental change, it creates its own gravitational field, one that bends your experience of time. This isn't dysfunction. This is your psyche's natural response to transformation. It's creating the spaciousness you need to process what's happening. It's giving you the expanded time required to let go of what no longer serves. But most people fight the time dilation. They try to rush back to normal time, feeling guilty for moving slowly, for needing more space, for not bouncing back on others' timelines. What if, instead, you honor this altered relationship with time? What if you recognize it as a gift rather than problem? Near a black hole, time dilation isn't a malfunction. It's a natural consequence of being in proximity to something immensely powerful. And in your life, the stretching of moments isn't a sign something's wrong. It's a sign you're close to something immensely powerful, your own transformation. So if you're in that stretched time space right now, don't rush it. You're not being slow. You're being thorough. Your soul knows that some changes can't be hurried. Trust the slowness. Trust that this altered time is exactly what your transformation requires. Number 3. The accretion disk beauty in the spiral. When we first imaged a black hole in 2019, what we saw took our breath away. It wasn't empty at all. It was surrounded by this magnificent, glowing spiral, a disk of matter swirling in elegant, fiery ribbons around the center. This is the accretion disk, one of the most beautiful structures in the universe. It's formed when material gets caught in the black hole's gravitational pull and begins to spiral inward. But instead of falling straight down, it dances. Your life has accretion disks too. There are those periods when everything feels like it's swirling around some central change you can't quite see yet. When pieces of your old life seem to be caught in some cosmic dance around this new version of yourself trying to emerge. Maybe you're there right now. Maybe it feels chaotic, like everything is spinning, and you can't make sense of the patterns. But what if you could see it from a distance, the way we see those galactic accretion disks? What if you could recognize the elegance in what feels like turbulence? The matter in an accretion disk doesn't fall randomly. It follows precise laws, creating patterns that are both mathematical and artistic. And the swirling in your life, those relationships shifting, those old habits being stripped away, those new possibilities circling closer, they're following laws too. Here's what's remarkable. Accretion disks aren't just beautiful. They're engines of creation. As material spirals inward, the friction creates conditions for new stars to be born. The process that looks like destruction is pure creativity. This is why your most chaotic periods often precede your most creative ones. The swirling isn't random, it's preparatory. It's a universe gathering materials for your next chapter. The materials in your personal accretion disk aren't random debris from your past. They're precisely what's needed for what's coming next. That relationship that ended, that job that didn't work out, that dream that fell apart, they're not failures. They're raw materials being transformed into the energy you'll need. And just like in space, the most beautiful light comes from the friction of this process. Those moments when you feel the tension between who you were and who you're becoming, that's when you shine brightest. So if your life feels like it's spinning right now, remember, you're not witnessing destruction. You're witnessing creation. You're in the middle of one of the universe's most beautiful processes. Trust the spiral. Let it make you luminous. Number 4, information paradox. Nothing is ever really lost. There's something about loss that feels so final. When a relationship ends, when someone dies, when a dream collapses, it feels like erasure, like those experiences have been swallowed by some void, never to return. But the universe has been grappling with the same question. If black holes destroy everything that falls into them, do they violate physics? Information, according to everything we understand, cannot be truly destroyed. Recent research suggests something remarkable. Nothing is actually destroyed. The information becomes encoded on the event horizon itself. It gets transformed, but the essential information remains part of the universe forever. It's never truly lost. It just changes form. Your losses work the same way. That relationship that ended, the information of that love, the way you learned to care, the capacity for intimacy you developed, doesn't disappear. It becomes part of who you are, encoded into your ability to love again. That dream that seemed to die, the passion that drove it, the skills you developed, none of that gets erased. It gets transformed into fuel for dreams you haven't imagined yet. Even that old version of yourself you sometimes mourn, the one who was more carefree or hopeful, that person isn't gone. They're encoded in who you are now. Their innocence becomes your wisdom. Their certainty becomes your flexibility. This is why you sometimes catch glimpses of all your past selves in unexpected moments. They're not gone. They're woven into the fabric of who you are today. The information paradox teaches us that the universe doesn't allow true endings. It only allows transformations. And neither do you. But the information doesn't just survive. It becomes more powerful. When matter falls into a black hole, it gets compressed, intensified, transformed into pure energy that can influence entire galaxies. Your losses work the same way. That grief becomes empathy. That failure becomes resilience. That broken heart becomes your capacity to hold others' pain with tenderness. So when you feel that pang of missing who you used to be, remember, you're not experiencing erasure. You're experiencing encoding. All of that information is still with you, woven into who you're becoming. Nothing is ever really lost. It's just waiting to be discovered in its new form. Number 5, Hawking radiation, the light you emit. Here's something that will bend your mind. Black holes actually glow, not from inside. Nothing escapes from there. But from the very edge of nothingness, they emit a steady stream of energy called Hawking radiation. Even the darkest places in the universe are sources of light. And you do this too, right now. As you navigate whatever transformation you're in, you're emitting your own Hawking radiation, not particles and energy, but something more precious, the light of authentic presence. Think about the people who have influenced you most. Were they the ones with perfect lives? Or were they the ones who had clearly been through something? People who carried a quality that came from having danced with difficulty and emerged more real, more alive. That quality was their Hawking radiation, the light they emit simply by existing at the edge of their own transformations. You might not feel like you're glowing right now. If you're in difficult change, you might feel more like you're disappearing. But this is the paradox. The times when we feel most like we're vanishing are often when we're most visible to others who need to see that survival is possible. Your struggle becomes their hope. Your willingness to stay present in uncertainty becomes their permission to not have answers. Your messy, real journey becomes a beacon for anyone navigating their own dark night. This is why we're drawn to authenticity over perfection. Why we're moved more by honest accounts of struggle than highlight reels of success. But here's what makes this beautiful. Hawking radiation is constant. Black holes don't choose when to emit light. It simply happens at the boundary between known and unknown. You don't have to try to be inspiring. Simply by staying present at the edge of your own becoming, you naturally become a source of light. Your Hawking radiation isn't about what you do or say. It's about how you are. It's the energy you create when you choose presence over numbness, honesty over performance, vulnerability over invulnerability. And just like in physics, this emission of light is how transformation happens. Black holes slowly release energy through Hawking radiation and eventually transform their entire mass into pure light, contributing the energy back to the universe. Your transformation works similarly. As you stay present at the edge of change, you're not just changing yourself, you're contributing to everyone around you. Your willingness to be real gives others permission to be real. Eventually, you won't be the same person who entered this transformation. You'll have converted the weight of your old identity into something luminous. But that light you're emitting right now, that's not a byproduct of your transformation. That's the transformation itself. Let's pull back now and see the full picture, the way you might see a galaxy from a great distance. All those individual stars and spiraling arms revealing themselves as one magnificent whole. Your transformation isn't separate from the cosmos. You're participating in the same fundamental forces that shape galaxies, birth stars, and evolve the universe itself. When you feel pulled toward change you didn't choose, you're experiencing your personal event horizon, that sacred threshold where one version of you ends and another begins. The fear isn't in the crossing, it's in the approach. But once you surrender to that pull, you discover it's not destruction, it's revelation. When time feels strange and stretched through your most difficult periods, you're experiencing your own time dilation. Your psyche is creating the spaciousness you need to process profound change. This isn't dysfunction, it's wisdom. Honor the slowness. Trust that some transformations require a different relationship with time. When everything in your life seems to be swirling in chaos, you're witnessing your personal accretion disk. Those pieces of your past being pulled into the spiral aren't debris. They're raw materials being transformed into the energy you'll need for what's next. Find the beauty in the dance, even when you can't see the full pattern yet. When you fear you're losing essential parts of yourself, remember the information paradox. Nothing is ever truly lost. It just changes form. Every experience, every relationship, every version of yourself you've ever been gets encoded into who you're becoming. Your losses become your wisdom. Your grief becomes your empathy. Your struggles become your strength. And right now, simply by staying present at the edge of your own transformation, you're emitting your own Hawking radiation. You're becoming a source of light for others who need to see that it's possible to navigate the darkness and emerge more real, more compassionate, more alive. The universe has been perfecting this process of transformation for 13.8 billion years. Black holes don't struggle against their nature. They embrace it completely. They show us that the deepest darkness can become the brightest light, that the most powerful forces of destruction are actually forces of creation. You are not separate from this cosmic dance. You are expressed in human form. And just like those magnificent black holes, you're not here to stay small or safe or unchanged. You're here to transform. You're here to show others what's possible when we stop fighting the pull of our own becoming and start dancing with it instead. The cosmos is conspiring for your transformation. Trust it, embrace it, become it. Before we part ways tonight, I want to leave you with something to carry into your week, into your life, into whatever transformation is calling to you. Imagine for a moment that you could see your current situation the way we now see black holes, not as something to fear, but as one of the most creative, generative forces in the universe. Imagine you could trust that whatever is pulling you toward change, whatever is asking you to let go, whatever is inviting you to become someone new, is actually the same intelligence that births stars and shapes galaxies. What if your resistance to transformation is the only thing standing between you and the most beautiful version of your life? What if the very thing you're most afraid to lose is exactly what needs to be composted into the soil of who you're becoming? What if this moment, right now, exactly as you are, exactly where you are in your journey, is not a problem to be solved, but a cosmos to be explored? Take that question with you. Let it work on you the way gravity works on light. And remember, you're not falling apart. You're falling together in ways more beautiful than you can imagine.